Racing to the 2023 Kentucky Derby, and this time we're going to check in on the Brisnet Speed Figures, take a look at the days away for their kind of emerging patterns as they develop towards the Kentucky Derby. We've done this the last couple of years, and what I like to show you is just some of the different handicapping things. You can see the speed figure progression on the top contenders as we get ready for the final round of Kentucky Derby preps. No Derby preps this weekend, but next week we get back into the action with the UAE Derby, and we also have the Jeff Ruby Stakes, and then we go to the Swamp, the Louisiana Derby. Speed figure progression for the top contenders, and that Derby leaderboard on March the 15th looks like this. Forte leads the way. He's been leading since his Breeders' Cup Juvenile win. He is going to run next in the Florida Derby and be the big favorite. Practical Move is the division leader out west. He will run in the Santa Anita Derby. And then you've got Angel of Empire confirmed for the Bluegrass Stakes, actually the Arkansas Derby for his next start. Ray's Kane most likely going to go to the Wood Memorial. Now the top speed figure contenders, when you look at their speed figure progression, and again how this chart reads is the 1 is their first career start. And then as you go forward, you have their most recent start. So for Go Rocket Ride, he debuted with a 97 Brisnet speed figure, and he only has 2 lifetime starts. So therefore his second speed figure was a 99. So he improved by 2 points from his maiden race to the San Felipe. Now when you look at a horse like Forte, he has got 6 lifetime starts. He debuted last May with an 89, and in his most recent start, he ran a 103. So what you're trying to see is, normally for horses, you want to see horses that pair up a number, and then they improve dramatically. And then what you're trying to do is see the differences between their juvenile form and their 3-year-old form, because speed figures get faster on all of the different scales, whether it's Brisnet, Beyer, Thorograph, Rags, Time Form. So I've highlighted in green the 3-year-old speed figures. So Practical Move came in with a 102 speed figure in his most recent start, the San Felipe. And Forte picked up a career high 103 Brisnet speed figure in his only race in 2023, the Fountain of Youth Stakes. Now then you got Hit Show, who back in the Withers Stakes ran a 96, and then Cyclone Mischief picked up a 99 in his allowance race, regressed to an 80 in the Holy Bull, and then picked up a 97 in his most recent speed figure as he was part of that race with Forte and Rocket Can. Another horse to look at is Confidence Game. He picked up a 95, but he has not worked out since that Rebel Stakes. And then Angel of Empire, you know, he debuted with a 69, went to a 68, and then he saw a noticeable jump, an 86 on first week of January in the Smarty Jones, and then all the way up to a 97 last time out in the Risen Star. So that's how you see some of the speed figures. Even a horse like Red Route 1, he's ran 7 times, but he dramatically improved when he faced faster horses in the Southwest Stakes, and the last time out running second to Arabian Night at Oaklawn Park. So that's their speed figure progression. Forte and Practical Move definitely showing a nice pattern for their first race of their 3-year-old season. But even a horse like Angel of Empire getting faster on the Brisnet scale. Now when you look at their days away, what you're trying to do here is what you want for every contender, top contender, is a little bit of a break. That's where they actually improve off that mini layoff, and that's where they kind of put all of their progression off that layoff. So you look at Forte, he had a 120-day layoff, and he came back with a career high speed figure. Confidence Game had a 56-day layoff. Then he kind of only had a 35-day layoff. He may not have as much room to improve. Angel of Empire, He had his layoff going into career start number 3, and then he's kind of been consistent. So they're going to really tighten the screws on him in the next couple of races. Then you've got Practical Move, who had a nice 77-day layoff. He definitely is sitting on an improving pattern. And then Skinner had his layoff, and then he only had a quick 20-day turnaround from his maiden win to the San Felipe. Now he's going to have to come back in the Santa Anita Derby, and then only about a 30-day layoff to the Kentucky Derby. But he had his big break after his last race as a 2-year-old, and then a 127-day layoff into his maiden breaker. Another horse that had a little bit of a break was Verifying. We'll see where he goes in his final prep, either the Bluegrass or the Arkansas Derby. And then Instant Coffee will be coming into his next race off a longer layoff than he had the last time going into the LeCompte. So those are some of the horses that I'm starting to like some of their speed figure patterns as we get to this final round of preps. Another thing I like to do is start to look at, in the Brisnet data, they have track variants, and then they also have race shapes. And race shape is, you're trying to look for extreme race shapes, which we've talked about. I've got a handicapping video on race shapes. We'll talk more about them as we get closer, but you're looking for kind of races that were extremely fast or extremely slow. And for Forte, his biggest race shape was back in October in the Keeneland Futurity, and he had a little bit of a fast pace in that race, 13 points faster on par. And that was when he faced Loggins in the Keeneland Breeders' Cup Futurity. Now, the fastest race shape for Practical Move was in the Los Al Futurity on December 17th, and he won that race. So you like it when horses can face an extreme pace shape and then still win that race. And then for track variance, this shows you how slow the surface was that day. Anything under 15 is kind of a, anything under 10 is a fast track. 10 to 20 is kind of a normal, and then 20 and over. So Forte had his one kind of slower race surface was on October the 8th, and then for Practical Move, he faced a little bit slower surface on October the 10th. But in his most recent start, he faced a kind of a fast surface on March 4th, and then Forte had kind of a medium type surface on March 4th in the Fountain of Youth. So Practical Move, I want to see how he comes out of that faster surface he faced. And then the late pace rating, Practical Move with a 107 in the San Felipe, and then now Forte with 3 out of 4 races with a strong late pace, including a 102 in the Fountain of Youth and then a 106 in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. So that's the pace of the race. Tappa Trice has come well out of his Florida Derby. He is going to go next in the Bluegrass Stakes for his final prep. Now, when you look at the Beyer speed figures, you've got Practical Move still leading the way with a 100, Forte with a 98, Arabian Night off the trail with a 97, and then Instant Coffee with a 92. He goes next at the fairground. So that's a look at some of the speed figure progressions as we start to get closer now within 50 days of the Kentucky Derby. Who are some horses that you think can still move ahead? Leave a comment. Remember, we've got the Louisiana Derby coming up. We've got the Jeff Ruby Stakes coming up. If you like Triple Crown news and notes, make sure to subscribe to the Thoroughbred Prospectus. It comes out every Monday, 2,000 words minimum, free to subscribe. Look for the subscription in the description below and join over 150 racing fans getting their news every Monday from the Thoroughbred Prospectus as we get you ready for the 2023 Kentucky Derby.